All right. So we are back live again, and we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to give you all a second to come on in. We were just doing a live reaction to this video of whether or not a man is broke if he earns less than half of or more, less than double what a woman makes. And to me, I found the video to be foolhardy. I found it to be troublesome and problematic. And we had opened up the phone lines for you to call in. And so I'm getting ready to get that turned up right now so that you all can call in and give your opinion about whether or not he's broke if he earns less than double what the woman is making. And so we reacted to it in the last video. So welcome, come on in right now. Come on in and let's get this party started. Let's see if we can get let me see. As a matter of fact, let's restart. Come on in, everyone, come on in. And as you're coming in, give the video a thumbs up. Let me see if I can see the chat. Always some sort of technical issue going on. I need somebody to type inside the chat area so I can see whether or not we see the chat, and then we'll go from there. All right. So all right, I see no chat. I see no chat. I should have restarted the phone, but I did not restart the phone. I'm restarting the computer. Okay, now I see chat. Now I see chat. Okay, now I see chat. All right, so we are back, and we're gonna jump right into it. We have, all right, so saying the quality looks better. Yeah, there's so many imperfect solutions right now. I remember when we first started broadcasting on YouTube, there was no live. So you had to record as if you were live, and then there was no out and about live. You had to record, then come back home, edit, and upload. So now we're able to do live, but then we're also having some quality issues with the live. So this is what we're going to be working through. The phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. We are going to get signed in, and I want to hear your thoughts. There were people who wanted to hear my point of view on that video. They wanted me to react to it. I reacted to it in the last video. All right, welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. I am your host, Tonya TKO. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I'm a life coach from TonyaTKO.com. I hope you learn how to love yourselves and one another. On this channel, we react to live video topics, and we shift those viral topics into teachable moments in our own lives about self-love. All right, so here we go. We are live and we are on the air, and the phone lines are open. So I want someone to call in and test the phone lines for us so that we can see whether or not we can hear. Whether or not we can hear. Hey, welcome in, everyone. Welcome back in. Welcome. I'm sorry about the technical difficulties, but it's just part of growing with technology. So the phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. And just to reiterate what I said, the last caller who called in, you all said that you really couldn't hear her. So just to reiterate, she was saying that her father and her mother in their relationship, that her father really didn't give the mother much say because he was the one who brought in the money, right? And I was saying that we've been so bastardized in this country that there are far too many of us that really don't know and understand the role that each partner has in the relationship. And she was telling me that her parents are Haitian. And so, Haiti was one of the first countries to break out of the white man's grip, right? But only physically, because then financially they had, I think they're just recently finished paying off their debt, if they're not still paying off their debt to France for freeing themselves, right? And in some Caribbean mentality people have a lot of machismo. I don't know what the situation was that existed in that household, but it's obviously a situation where the man did not appreciate the feminine contribution that the woman made, right? And DA is saying you're so pretty. Thank you. You know, I do try. I do try. Right? There's some men who don't appreciate the contribution that women make. There are some men who don't understand the position that they hold, you know, rising up to the mantle of manhood and the pride that is involved in allowing your woman to be able to rest in her femininity. The last caller was saying that she feels that women should earn about as much as men do, and it's unfortunate that because of the relationship that she saw between her parents that she's come forward with this point of view when it's not feasible for the continuation of society for women to work as long and as hard as men do for what, to bring in equal the amount of money. So there's a sliding scale. Okay. The first call is coming through. Let's see. You're on the air live. What's your name?
Hello?
Yes, hi. So just give me 1 second to just finish up this last statement. So the phone lines are working good, so I hear you coming through loud and clear, right?
Okay.
I'm just going to put you on mute real quick to just make sure that you turn down your computer in the background. So there's a sliding scale. As a womb holder, as keeper of the womb, you give up some of your fertile years for earning money. You give up some of your fertile years for earning a degree. You give up some of your fertile years for earning money. You give up some of your because they say that it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. So after you spend 8 years in high school and college, right? And then let's not even talk about going on to a higher degree. So now you're getting out, you're 21, right? You then spend 10 years in the workforce, and that's just to be able to get your foot just started standing, right? So now, if you want to become a doctor, you spend your 10 years, or a lawyer, you spend your 10 years, and plus, you know, you do your 8 years of med school or your 8 years of legal stuff. And then so now you're coming out at 31 instead of 21. And then you take another 10 years to become, you know, head of your field. So we're talking about you being 41. Listen, now you're going to start trying to do your family at 41 or 51. And by then, most of your fertile years are done. So a person has to be smart and realize that there's only but so far that you're going to get in the workforce before you realize, listen, you know, I may need to stop in order to be able to give birth to children, right? So here we go. We're going to listen. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. So you're connected again. So tell us tell us your name again, and then help us with your comment.
My name is Shay.
Okay. Hi, Shay. So what is your comment on this topic?
Okay, so my comment is pretty much that the two people, they just didn't understand fully the basis of a relationship. Everything seems to be surrounded by financial stability. I've been married for 17 years, and I remember when I first met my husband, I was 26 years old, and he was like 32.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember since I was a little girl, I used to always say, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I didn't want to work. As a female, I never wanted to work, and I wanted 3 boys. And I used to always say that. And I meet my husband, and I remember him saying, you know, he wanted children and that he wanted a stay-at-home wife. Now, remind you, you know, I've been in other relationships where the guys, they didn't want to get married. They would just sell you these pipe dreams because they just wanted to have their cake and eat it too. Mm-hmm. So they would never marry you. So I finally meet my husband. He's like, I want to be married. I want to have children. And I'm like, oh, okay, me too. So I feel like when it comes to women and finding their mate and vice versa, you guys just have to be on the same page. I don't think it has to be so much financial versus just making sure that you guys want the same thing. So if he wants you to be a stay-at-home mother, then usually that means that he definitely, you know, sees importance in a woman taking care of the children, and he understands that the nurturing part definitely comes from the mother. So that he understands. As far as the women, losing their voices or feeling like they don't have a voice because they don't bring in, actual like financial means, that right there, I feel like the man should definitely help boost her up and help her understand that how important she is, because you said earlier before you ended your live, the Western society has taught women that you're supposed to climb the corporate ladder. And if you stay at home and take care of your children and a man takes care of you, that's considered weak, right? And so they always try to pull you off your family ladder. And when I became a stay-at-home mother, people, the women around me, they just didn't understand it. They didn't understand why I chose to stay at home and take care of my children. So they used to always just like try to kick the family ladder from underneath me. And I was the only person that I knew that actually stayed at home. So I didn't really have anybody to talk to until I actually moved overseas. And I was surrounded by all women who stayed at home, and they were so fine with it. And I remember coming back to America, and I was like, you know what? Don't try to, push me off my family ladder, and I won't push, and I'm not going to try to push you off your corporate America, your corporate America ladder. At the end of the day, I just really feel like finances is something that is important, but at the same time, what's most important in a relationship is about two beings coming together, wanting the same thing. And if you do want to reproduce and take care of your family, there needs to be an understanding. And most of all, you have to go into a traditional mode and understand that there are roles that have to be played. And
so
and I think that we've gotten away from that. We're so afraid of it.
Question: did your husband make you feel like you didn't have a voice? What was that like for you?
No. Okay, so for me, in the beginning, as a woman, I'm the one that felt like, what do I bring to the table? Because I didn't understand it, because I've always worked and everything. So when I stopped working, it was like, oh my God, what do I do? I felt myself that I wasn't worthy. My husband had to walk me through it because he's old-fashioned, if you will. You know what I mean? And he was like, Shay, the house is yours, right? My mother didn't teach me that. My mother told me to get out here, get an education, and you provide for yourself, and you never let a man take care of you. My husband was actually the one who said, no, the house is yours. If you want to work, that's fine. But raising my children is the most important thing. He walked me through it for 4 years. I could not figure out my work. I thought that going out and working was what I had to offer. And after 4 years and traveling the world and meeting other women overseas who were fine with it, and my husband pretty much holding my hand, I realized that it was a journey, but I realized just how important it is for your children to come home and somebody's there, right? And my husband used to be like, there is nothing more important. There is no job in this world, Shay, that you could ever do than be here for our children.
Yes.
And I kid you not, Tonya, it took me so long to understand that. And it's so funny because I know a lot of women don't have these stories when they say, okay, the man, actually, walked the woman through it, but he does have you by 6 or 7 years. Right.
Yeah,
right?
So the people are asking whether or not your man is black. They got a bet.
Yeah, they got a bet. I wouldn't have it no other way.
They got a bet. They got a bet going on. Okay, so VB, you're wrong. Her man is black.
Yeah, I have a black husband and 3 black sons.
Okay, and your husband is Black American?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So listen, they're out there, people. Listen, they're out there.
they're definitely out there. It's just about understanding that as a woman nowadays, you have to be okay with all your femininity. It is okay to be in a feminine role in your home. The object of the game is just finding a man that can respect that, who understands your femininity, understand that it's important, and that is something that he also needs as well. Masculinity and femininity, it balances each other. One cannot pretty much exist without the other. You need both of them. And
how old are your children now? How old are your children?
I have a 22-year-old. I have a 14-year-old, soon to be 15, and I have a 13-year-old.
Okay, so her oldest child is 22. So you're in your late 40s now.
I'm in my early 40s. I'm 41.
These numbers ain't adding up, my dear. Not if you met him at 26.
Well,
Come on now, let's
well,
talk about the truth of what's going on here
yeah.
now. Listen.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Like I said earlier, I was in other relationships. I had a son before, but then I had two children to my husband.
Oh, oh, oh,
I had a,
oh, 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 oh.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh, 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 oh,
absolutely.
oh,
So my
oh,
husband,
oh. Okay. Because my math was
yeah,
like,
no,
okay.
it's okay. That's no problem, no problem. Yeah, I already had a son. So when I met my husband, my son was what, 6 years old,
Oh,
and
okay.
and then I stopped working. He coached me into it because I was used to working and being very independent. I didn't know any other way, and so that's the
Got
way it
you.
went. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So for me, I just feel like women are they're matching themselves up with the wrong man. Trust me, I know. He isn't my first. He's my last, but he isn't my first. And I wasn't matching myself up with the men that wanted the same thing that I wanted. And number two, they did not understand the feminine energy. They didn't respect it at all. They just didn't get it. And
Okay.
you definitely want to, gear, as a woman, you want to pick the man who definitely understands you as a woman, and most of all, respect you.
Okay, so listen, there's some young ladies in the audience that want to get hooked up with your first son. So maybe
With my,
listen, maybe you can head
that
to
is
the
so,
maybe you can head to the
huh?
comments and maybe make a little love connection out there. I don't know. You know what I'm
But
saying?
no, hold on. Listen, but no, this is seriously, I mean, like, really, so I do believe, to be honest with you, I do believe in, to a certain degree, arranged marriages.
Okay.
Is this another conversation for another day?
I think it may be. Listen, I became a certified matchmaker. So I definitely believe in being a conduit between people finding love with one another,
Hmm.
and I definitely think that there are important questions to ask that maybe young people may not even know to ask, when matching
Yeah.
themselves up. So what is it that your husband does? So he's in the military, or because I know you said you were overseas.
Yeah, yeah. So he's retired Air Force, and he's a
Okay.
contractor. So he has his own business. So, we pretty much used
Wait,
to
I'm sorry.
travel a whole
He's a
bunch.
military contractor.
Yeah, yeah. So he's
Oh,
retired Air Force, and he is a military. Well, he works indirectly with the military. So I mean, but he has a high position, so he did make money. But I'll be honest with you, what I manifested, what I pretty much um, brought into my life, it was never about money with a man. I just understood the role that I wanted to play in a man's life,
mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And so when I would say I want to be a stay-at-home mother, and I literally said, I kid you not, I used to always say I want three boys because I never thought that I got along with women. So I could never visualize my children being uh, females because I just seem to have better relationships with males. So the masculine energy always did very well with me because I'm okay with my femininity, right? I'm okay with playing the role. So men take really well to me, and I never had a problem with getting a man. I'm a Pisces, so you know how we are. We're
Okay,
very feminine,
okay,
and so I just pretty much made that come. What do you call it? I just manifested that into my life. I never put a dollar sign on it. I just knew I didn't want to work, that I actually wanted to raise children. I really did. And it did not have a dollar sign on it. It didn't have anything to do with a certain style of living. However, I did get blessed with a nice lifestyle. However, it never dawned on me to be a stay-at-home mom that a person has, you have to make a certain amount of money. It never dawned on me.
right,
I
got
just
you,
wanted to be a
got you.
stay-at-home mother, and I wanted three boys.
And you got that. All right. Well, you know what? Thank you so much for calling in. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
All right. All right. So Kenya is saying my head is hurting. Well, listen, phone lines are open. You can call in and let us know why Your head is aching. I want to find out what's going on with that. So listen, so she brought up some good points. She manifested, and listen, I have, for those of you who are interested in manifesting and bringing into your life what you want in your life, this is my book of affirmations, self-love. This is my personal copy. It is available on Amazon. Brand new copy for you, available on Amazon for you to rewrite affirmations, to be able to bring forward into your life what it is that you want in your life. Because when you reattune yourself to self-love, all of the amazing things that you want in life start to come into your life. So phone lines are open. Just make sure that you're not calling from a blocked number. Make sure that your number is open. If you don't know how to have an open number, call your telephone company and let them know that your number is coming up blocked and you need to temporarily unblock your number and be able to call in. Tell them you got something important going on right now and you need the number to show up. So let's do that. And so Candace is saying your book is beautifully written, Tonya. I don't want to write in it. Listen, in the very beginning, because I know the book is beautiful. In the very beginning, it states right there, this book is, I even put a part in there where I wrote in handwriting for you so that you would be inspired to write in handwriting in your book, right? It's important that you physically write the sentences. So this right there, I did an example for you. And even in the back of the book, I made examples for you to be able to write with your handwriting. So use your book. It's yours. It's only $20. Buy yourself another one if you want to keep it as a keepsake. You can buy the another one and you can take the pictures and put them inside of a frame or whatnot. But do not write in it. Write in your book. This is yours. Make it your own. Okay? And if you go to Amazon and you search for Tonya TKO, you'll find the book right there. It's getting rave reviews, and the first edition of the book is available for you right now. Okay. So phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. I want to hear from the next person who has a point of view about this. Someone was also, Jasmine is saying, I received mine today. Wonderful. Jasmine, write in yours. Okay? Like I said, please make sure that your phone number is not blocked because I don't answer blocked phone numbers. I don't answer unknown phone calls on this channel. You can try somebody else's channel, but they don't get answered here. All right, phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. I want to hear from people who agree with the young lady that a man should make twice what a woman makes. You understand? So listen. I want to hear from a person who agrees with the young lady who feels that a person should make twice as much. You're on the air live with Tonya. What's your name? So, listen, we're going to have to go down the list and start blocking people's phone numbers. I want to hear from someone who agrees with the young lady, right? You on the air live? Here we go. I know what to do. Listen, I'm about to put in my headphones because apparently we have a person who is attempting to play some internet games and they want to get on the air so that they could get their little 5 seconds of fame, attempting to abuse people, right? But ain't no victims over here. Ain't no victims over here, right? Hello? All right, so it's the same person attempting to play their little music or whatnot. So I'll save you all. I'll save you all of it. And the crazy part about it is that it sounds like a black person. It sounds like a black person talking. That's the crazy part about it. Yes, you sound Yes, you do. You sound like a black person. You sound like a black person. You do. Well, okay, and you sound like a black person. So you're not on the air. So anyway, so listen, the phone lines are open. Telephone number is 323-488-3149. Make sure that you're ready to have your conversation. Hello. What's your name? Yes, hi. How can we help you, Ola? If you're going to play some music, you might as well drop the music right now. What is your comment? What is it that you would like to talk about? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm so happy to hear that that is happening for you, Ola. Thank you. All right. Yes, hi. So I see that you've gotten yourself a phone line that you use specifically for trying to troll people on air. You know, I understand that it's a pandemic and there's lots of us with things that with not many things to do. So, you know what? My heart goes out to you. My heart goes out to you. It must be very sad living in an existence like that. All right. So listen, we are all right. Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you all what the deal is, right? So basically, it's either one person or multiple people who have some sort of phone line set up with a voicemail in place that they're using to call and try to troll people. And when you call back the number, the voicemail has all of these profanities and profane words on it. And listen, you know what? I get it. When I was maybe 10 years old, me and my brother used to do prank callings as well because, and it's like, mm, when you have an emptiness that exists on the inside, when you have an emptiness that exists on the inside, it's you attempt to fill it in other ways, and those ways are not always healthy. All right, so phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. Yeah, so it's multiple of them. Phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. Phone lines are open. I'm so Hello? Yeah, so people just playing around on the phone. Phone lines are open, 323-488-3149. All right. So yeah, so there are other people who are saying that when they were in middle school, when they were in middle school, they used to do the same thing. Yeah, you're in the air. What's your name? Hi, Susan. What is your comment about this evening? Because as you know, we're getting some prank callers in, so I just want to screen the phone call. What's your comment? Okay, hold on. Let me put you on the air. Just a moment. Hi, say something now so we can see whether or not you are coming through the speaker loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So her name is Susan, and she said that she agrees with one of the points. So what is it that you agree with?
So I do think that, if you're a woman and you're, pursuing some type of long-term relationship with a man, especially if you want children in the future, that man definitely should earn, twice as much as you or more. I completely agree. And I think that if you're a woman who is looking to have a family, it's kind of a waste of time otherwise. That's just my personal belief. And that's what worked for my parents. My dad was always the breadwinner. My mom worked. She had the option to stay home for many years. She owned her own business. And basically, sometimes she would just stay home. There were times where, when I was in school as a young child, she was the one who was able to be at all of the recitals, all of, the things that I had to do as a kid. And when I look back on that, that was very important to me and it meant a lot to me. And, one day when I have kids, I want to be able to do the same for my children. And sometimes I think it is important for one parent to be able to stay home. And I also, my dad basically paid for everything. My parents never did 50-50. My dad always paid for everything. My dad paid for my college education, paid for grad school. And the one thing that he's always taught me is that, if you're going to have a man in your life, if he cannot take care of you and provide for you the way that I have, what's the point in him being there? And I've always felt that way. And I know a lot of people maybe don't feel that way, but that's the way that I've always felt.
What year were your parents married in?
Gosh, okay, so I am 24, and my parents have been married since 1994.
Okay, so your parents got married in 94. All right. So when your parents got married, they were at the tail end of Reaganomics, right? With this whole trickle down economy. And so wages have not matched productivity since the 80s. And so where it is that we are now, and this is part of the reason that you see a lot of white people just lashing out, like white males lashing out now, is because they are no longer able to carry a family on a single income anymore. So they've made it so that everybody in the damn family, man, woman, and children, have to be out there hucking and shucking corn.
That's true. I just feel like even if you say, you know what, that rule doesn't work for me, that's something that doesn't work for me and my family, I do disagree with the idea of like women having to, split bills 50-50 and this and that. I think that until, women are able to earn the same amount for doing the same job, until women share the load of, like household labor, because, there are women who work just as many hours as their husband, yet have to come home and take on a completely different role, and they're basically not equally sharing that role.
Yeah.
So I think until like women are paid the same for the same jobs and come home and have, split duties, there's absolutely no reason why a woman should be taking money out of her hard-earned bank account and putting it towards bills with a man. You could be by yourself and do that.
Okay. All right. So, so young lady says that her parents got married in the 90s during the tail end of Reaganomics, and that she agrees. So what is dating like nowadays?
I think that it's hard for a lot of people. I've seen like a lot of my girlfriends struggle with, basically like being financially taken advantage of by a lot of these men. And it's the same conversation that I have with a lot of my girlfriends. It's like, if a person does not add to your life, what are they there for? You know what I mean? Like if you're, living with him and splitting bills with him and doing this and doing that, that's a roommate. You could do that with another girl and have less of a headache, you know? So I think like, at least in my age group, I would like to see like more women like keep their money to themselves, because I just see a lot of girls like in their early, mid, and like late 20s building these lives with these men, and they're paying half for this and paying half for that, and then later on they have nothing to show for it, and you know, it's sad when you see that sort of thing happen. And I've avoided that problem by, you know, I just refuse to date men that I would have to contribute.
Okay.
I refuse. It's not worth my time to me. You know, it's like I have, I consider myself like a somewhat busy person. You know, my time is valuable. And I think especially when you see how a lot of women have like wasted time with men and then later they realize that, you know, they wanted a family or they wanted this or they wanted that. I don't want to waste my time. So I just feel like, you know, if I have to split this, split that, blah, 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 it's not worth my time. If you are the kind of person that, you know, can sustain a family, you can show me that by paying for everything. And if you can't do that, then, you know, listen, I'm not interested.
When you say pay for everything, what do you mean?
I mean, you know, if you're going to cohabitate with a man, he should be paying the bills.
All of them?
You shouldn't have to pay any bills. That's just my belief, you know.
Every
like,
single bill.
If you're going to I'm sorry?
Every single bill in the house.
Yeah, I think that's a man's position. I think that's a man's job. That's just my personal belief. I think that, you know, if you're going to live with a man, he should be paying the bills. Now, I'm not saying that you know, there's like absolutely nothing you can do. I think if you're, you know, cohabitating, then yeah, you know, you can cook and, you know, keep the house nice and whatever, but paying a mortgage, paying rent, paying bills, paying utilities, I'm not doing that.
Okay, so you said you can keep the house nice and cook, so that's an option then. It's not a must, it's an option.
Yeah, that's my belief.
So
that's just how I think about it.
So if cooking and keeping the house nice are an option, so that means that there are in your vision of a relationship, of a vision of a marriage, that there's a woman who is a housewife that doesn't keep the house up and doesn't cook, etc.
I mean, I've seen that. I've seen, you know, women who don't cook, I mean, my grandparents have been married for decades. My grandmother was a stay-at-home mother. She never worked. She doesn't cook. My grandfather cooks. He would come home from work and cook dinner. She doesn't like to cook. Never going to. You're never going to catch her in the kitchen baking or cooking anything. And it's worked for them. They're like 80, you know? So there are women who are stay-at-home moms and, you know, they either hire the help that they need or there are just certain things that they're not going to do. And to me, I think that, you know, if a man really wants to make you happy, it doesn't matter to him.
Okay.
What you're willing to do in the house, what bills you're willing to pay, doesn't matter. If he's willing to make you happy, you know, he's not going to care.
Okay. And so, so you said your grandfather, what was the age difference between your grandfather and your grandmother? I'm just curious.
They're not really that far apart in age. I want to say he's like 5 years younger than her.
So, okay, so your grandfather's 5 years younger. And who taught your mother how to cook if your grandfather was out working all day and your mother if your grandfather was out working all day and your grandmother didn't cook, who taught your mother?
Honestly, I don't know how she learned to cook. And my mother has never really, you know, loved cooking. I mean, she would cook dinner, but it's not something that she absolutely loved to do. Most of the time, I remember like being a teenager, we would always like make a point to eat out together. So my dad had to like stop working by a certain time. We'd go out to dinner and then we'd go home.
Okay.
And that was kind of like a family ritual.
Do you cook?
But yeah, I do cook. I cook for myself. I cook for my boyfriend. I cook for my friends. I cook for my cousin. I actually love to cook. So it's something I love doing. Mm-hmm. If I didn't like cooking, I wouldn't want to cook. But it's something that I love doing. I love, like, you know, looking up like old recipes and stuff. And my dad actually taught me how to cook a lot of the things that I make today, because my dad likes cooking way more than my mother does. My dad loves to cook and he loves to eat.
Okay. Well, All right. So, in your vision of a relationship in the future, you see yourself cooking and cleaning, and what is it that you view?
Well, I think that, I think it depends on the person, because I know, like, part of my love language is acts of service. So, like, I'm always, like, cooking for my friends, or, if I know, like, my friend has, like, had a really bad weekend or whatever, I'll be like, hey, come over, I'll cook you dinner or whatever. So I feel like that's like part of my personality. But I definitely plan to work. I didn't go to school for all of these years to not work. I definitely plan to work, but I don't see myself, focusing solely on my career and, like, working the kind of hours where I wouldn't be able to drop everything if my child, like, needed me, or needed me to pick something up and drop it off at the school or whatever. I don't see that being my focus. And so, because of the kind of lifestyle that I want to live and the kind of parent I envision myself to be, my career is going to be very important to me, yes. I just don't see it being more important than motherhood. And because of that, I require a partner who will be a breadwinner.
Got you. And what's your ethnicity? Just curious.
Oh, I'm Black. I'm 100% Black.
And do you date interracially,
100%.
or are you solely dating?
I do. Yeah, I do.
So you date interracially. So your boyfriend now is not Black?
No, he's not.
And when you get married, you don't plan on marrying a Black man?
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I just,
it's just whoever you fall in love with.
It's just not my current situation. If I met a fabulous Black man who agreed, with my vision of what I wanted my life to be, then yeah, but right now, that's not my current situation. But I'm 100% Black. I'm not, unambiguous looking either. I walk into the room and you see a dark-skinned Black woman. So,
All right. And so the person that you're with now, do you see that going towards marriage?
I think so. But I'm the kind of person where I really like to take my time with things. I really like to get to know someone, see how they mesh with my family, see how family is very important to me. So, he's met my parents, but he hasn't met my extended family yet. I still want to get, like, my cousin's opinions and, everyone in the family, just see how he fits. And I think that's something that's really, really important to me. And, see how they like respect your culture.
Okay, very interesting. Well, thank you so much for giving your point of view. I mean, I'll let you jump back into the comments and speak with the people there. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right, so phone lines are open. And so we're going to take the next call in. One of my concerns in a situation like that is balance, right? And if a person has to leave work to come home and cook, I don't know. You're on the air. What's your name? You're on the air. What's your name? Yes, hi. What is your comment? I'm screening the phone calls. So come with it, Nagyol. Please come with it. What is your comment? I can't hear you. Yeah, so you said your name is Tammy? All right, I'm going to bring you on the line. All right, so we have Tammy on the line. And so, Tammy, what is your comment?
Hi, so I wanted to say that
I grew up in a family of traditional women.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the men were breadwinners. They made more than my mother, my grandmother, my aunts. And basically, they stayed at home and carried the children. So I think that's very important as women. We carry the children. We bear all the weight of taking care of the children, nursing them, and everything. And so I think it's important when choosing a mate that you have someone that will support you as a woman, knowing that you will be the one to carry the children and that they would probably be one out in the world actually working and bringing home and providing for the family.
Okay. Okay. And so my question to the women who want to be the stay-at-home mothers or wives, right? Um,
Yeah.
when you need money, how does that work when you need money? When you got to buy your maxi pads or a gift or whatever, how does that work?
Yeah, so I mean, when they needed things, there was no hesitation of my giving them the money to get whatever that they
The phone is
needed.
breaking up right
Um,
now. The phone is breaking up. Can you say that last
oh,
part again?
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Let me try to take it off of Wi-Fi.
Mm-hmm.
So I said that it was never a problem for my dad or my grandpa to give my mother and grandmother money whenever they needed things. There was never like an argument or anything like that. It's just whatever they needed. My grandfather and my dad always taught me that whatever you need, just make sure that he's able to provide that for you. And they always taught me that you being a woman, you bear your children, he should want to do that, and that's what you should look for in your mate. I'm not saying that, hey, like, just say that with this economy now, I probably would get someone who makes less money than a rich person, of course. But at the same time, you probably would want to vet a man who definitely can provide if you have to take off of work for half a year,
Mm-hmm.
to take care of the children. So I just think that's very important to think about as you vet for a husband.
Okay. And so, some of the people are asking if a woman needs to leave the situation in a hurry, like let's say the relationship is not working, what happens? How does she do that? Where does she get the money from to be able to leave if she needs to?
Well, I mean, this is gonna be kind of weird, but my mom, every time my dad gives my mom money every week, she puts that money up into an account. So now she has an account with a lot of money in there. So and she has a contract with him. They're married. So basically, like if they do split, she's protected either way. This is
The
not
phone
just
is breaking
for
up, so I'm
shack
having a
stuff.
hard time hearing what you're saying. So,
Oh,
say that again.
sorry. So I said my mother. So my dad gives her money. She puts that money into an offset account. So that account is built up over time, but she is married. So I feel like the contract that she is in, so if they do split, that she will be protected in a way that she won't be just left stranded, or anything like that. They're in a contract. This is not something where we're just shacking up with a guy and you expect him to make all this money and take care of you. And you guys are not married and he can leave at time. This is basically, I'm talking mainly about husband and wife union, not
Okay,
just
so
a
basically, so
girl.
basically what you're saying is your father gives your mother money every week, and that money is in excess of what she needs to run the household. And so she puts that money into a separate account, and then from there, she's able to create savings for herself based on his income. That's what you're saying?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, and what does your dad do?
My dad's an engineer.
Okay, and so what is
So
dating like for you nowadays?
for me, um, I am a school girl, so I'm really not into dating right now. I'm in college, so I'm not really like looking
for a man at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if I started to date, I would probably, I'm more like the kind of girl, like I'm still a virgin. So I really don't, I've been on a couple dates, but I always ask a lot of questions, and I feel like I'm a little bit intimidating with what I look for. So I kind of get a lot of pushback. But yeah, right now I'm not really dating at the moment.
Okay, okay. And so when it comes, so what is your ethnicity and what's the ethnicity of the people that you typically are attracted to?
Oh, I'm Black. And I'm African American, and I date interracially, but I mostly date within my race. I would say I attract more Black men than I do outside of my race. So, but yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what? There's a lot of people who have a lot of feedback about what you're saying. So I'm going to let you jump back into the audience and communicate. So thank you. We appreciate your point of view. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. The phone lines are open. 323-488-3149. And I think it's an interesting conversation that we're having. And one of the things that I'm noticing is that, that the women who are coming up nowadays are more open to interracial dating, are more open to seeing what else is out there. You're on the air live. What's your name? Hi, Deshawn. What's your comment? Really? Okay. Give me just one. You feel what? No, finish the sentence because I was going to put you on the air. Okay, hold on. Let me bring you on the air. All right, so we have Deshawn on the line, and Deshawn feels that there are many Black women nowadays who want a career. So go ahead, Deshawn.
Yes, in today's society, what I see from experience from having 4 sisters, I'm the oldest of 6, but I see a lot of women, they want a career, they want to do things, they want to bring home their own money. It's nothing wrong with a wife staying at home to take care of the kids, but my mom did that. And she's a little bit regretful because things that she wanted to do and accomplish, she couldn't because she got pregnant early, then married to my dad and a stay-at-home mom. So, I mean, she regrets because she couldn't do a lot of the things she wanted to do. If something happened during her marriage, he's the breadwinner. So she would have to ask him and, if certain purchases are okay, this and that. But I think many women, they want to make their own bread. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, staying at home. But, I mean, what if the kids are school age? So what is the wife going to do then?
What do you mean?
Just wait around the house? Well, if they're school age in school for 6-8 hours a day, then what is the mom prepared to do during that time frame?
What do you mean? What is she prepared to do?
Is she going to cook and clean while the kids are not home from school, or? But it's a little time where she could. I mean, what is she going to do if they're not there? If they're in school, if they're,
So let's ask some of the ladies in the audience, what is there to do in a house when the children are at school during the day from 9 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon, or 7 till 3, or however long your kids are in school? What is there to do during the day? So that's part of your comment. What's the next part of your comment?
And also, like I said, I've seen my mom be regretful because she couldn't do what she wanted to do.
What does she want to do?
And she had she had a goal of being an RN, but she was pregnant and got married, and she's a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She has been for many years, but she had a lot of regrets because she couldn't, at that time, go out in the field and start working at a particular job or go to school. She had to take care of the household. That was her job. So I see her having many regrets because she wasn't allowed certain opportunities. And there's nothing wrong for a mom to stay at home, but I tell my sisters, always have your own. Don't depend on a man. So if your husband decides he's tired, he wants a divorce, then what does the wife do?
Well, you heard the last caller who called in. Her mother had a separate bank account, and he gave her a weekly stipend, which exceeded the amount that it took to take care of the house. So she had her own money to be able to save and keep for a rainy day. So what about that?
But if he decides to leave, would that sustain her for months or years until she gets on her feet? Or
It
if
sounds
they get a
like
divorce, is she going to leave her home?
it sounds
Or
it sounds like, well, so there's a few different things, right? So one, in a marriage situation, right, you have a legally binding contract, and under each state's law, you know, during a divorce, the woman is entitled to half of the assets, depending on the state that you're in, right? So not only is she entitled to half of the assets, if she is given a weekly stipend that she keeps in an account and is able to save that money, then she's able to use that money to do what she wants to, and able to use that money in case of a rainy day.
But how immediate will she get the money? Will she
If
have to
it's-
wait months?
I mean, but if
Will she have to wait weeks?
so this is what the last caller said. Her mother has a bank account, a separate bank account, and the father gives her a certain amount of money each week that she then puts into her bank account. So how much access does a person have to their bank account? They have their own debit card, their own checkbook, and the ability to withdraw money from their bank account same day. So it's her bank account.
Correct. But is that sustainable if they get a divorce? I know she has a nest egg there,
Mm-hmm.
but in today's world, things are expensive. So if he ups and decides he wants a divorce, and she does have a nest egg, how long would that last her? How long is that sustainable for months or years until she gets on her feet? And if she has children, things could be quite difficult. And I understand that with the divorce, but things take a little time. You're not going to get a lump sum or a certain portion at that time. It might take months or regarding paperwork and legality and stuff like that. So things aren't just going to be instant regarding the household or her receiving money or funds.
Okay.
It's good to have a nest egg, but when you have to depend on another person for that, it becomes a little bit difficult.
Well, you know, from what it is that I'm hearing, the average American can't go 90 days without bringing in income. This is what I hear. The average American can't go 90 days without bringing in income. So whether it's in her bank account or in anybody's bank account, does the average American in and of themselves have the ability to sustain themselves for more than 90 days without a weekly paycheck? So that's one question that the average American can ask themselves. So I think a lot of us are vulnerable. When it comes to her bank account, we don't know how much money it is that she's saving inside the bank account. We don't know how much money how she's invested it. I just looked at my account today and Bitcoin is up to 12,000 goddamn dollars. So a sister is sitting here happy, right?
Well, you could split that with me. Yeah, you could split it.
Listen, child, if you only knew. If you only knew. So there's a lot of different things that people can do, but it sounds like the concern that you have is that it sounds like the concern that you have is that your sisters will be left unable to fend for themselves. So what are some things that your sisters can do in a situation where a man is the breadwinner to be able to care for themselves if the man leaves or dies? What are some things that she can do, that your sisters can do?
Get an education, and if she wants to stay home or she's taking care of children, I would let her know maybe part-time work. But my sisters see now, even myself as a black man, I love black women, but I let them know, do not depend on a man. Always have your own. Always have your own identity, your own account, your own job, your own career. Never depend on a man to tell you or give you anything. Like I have a sister that's a scientist, and she wants a career. She doesn't want to, it's nothing wrong with staying at home. She doesn't want that. She wants to be able to spend and take care of herself. She wants her own identity. But there's nothing wrong with staying at home if you can afford to. But what if you can't afford that? What if that asset isn't available to you?
What do you mean if the asset is not available to you? What do you mean by that?
If you and your spouse are struggling and you can afford to stay home and take care of the kids, you have to work and then come home and do everything else as well.
I think what some of the ladies are saying is that those men that can't afford to take care of the household without your contribution are men that you should not be dating or marrying. I think that's what the ladies are saying. So why be in a situation where you're struggling and you're not able to take time off to have children? Because remember last year we did that video with the woman who was 9 months pregnant with twins, and her Black husband was proud of her for working 9 months pregnant. And they attacked me because I thought that it was dangerous. So I think that's what the ladies are saying. Don't date those men that'll have you out there with your big pregnant belly waddling around on some white man's work floor.
I agree. I agree. I'm not saying that. Yeah, I agree. But I mean, I don't think a guy should necessarily have to meet a certain threshold. He has to make twice as much. But what if you meet someone that's, sustaining, you guys motivate each other, you inspire each other to do better jobs, better careers, education. I don't think it's anything wrong with that. But that 9 month thing, I don't necessarily agree with that. But
So then
what if the wife had a
what
certain job and she didn't want to stay home?
what is the middle ground? What is the middle ground? What is it that you would want? Because if the husband is dependent on his wife's income, then she can't take
we're not
overtime.
that.
Okay,
I agree. I don't agree with that. A man sitting at home, no, baby. You don't work, you don't
So
eat.
then what is it that you're saying? What is the ideal situation? I didn't say a man sitting down. I'm talking about dependent on her 50%. If the lifestyle that a couple has is dependent on the income of each person, she brings in 50%, he brings in 50%, what happens when it's time to have children?
Then they need to discuss that prior. If they're going to get married, or if they're in the process or engaged, they need to discuss that at that time. But when people wait until things are already there, the child is there, they decide, hey, this doesn't work.
Honey, I need you to answer the question. What is the ideal situation?
Okay.
What's the ideal situation in your mind?
With a man not working and a woman working?
No, an ideal marriage situation in terms of finances.
I'm
situation?
sorry.
Okay.
I think like 50-50, you help each other out. I don't think a man should have to pay for everything and you're just holding your stuff to the side. I was raised traditionally where a man did everything. He took care of the household, he provided, the mom stayed at home, but if she wanted to do something or go on a vacation or buy an expensive gift, she couldn't. She would have to ask her husband, hey, is this okay? The price might be a little bit high. Can we afford it? But she would have to ask him if it's okay to purchase something she wanted, opposed to having her own and doing it if she can afford it.
Right. So you're saying that you feel that the ideal is 50-50, right?
Correct.
Okay. So this is a situation where the husband is dependent on the wife's 50%. So if, let's say, I don't know what part of town you're in, but let's just use New York or California as an example where rent is $2,000, right? That's reasonable, right? Rent $2,000, right? And that's in just a 1 or 2 bedroom, right? That's one child. So rent is $2,000. The wife brings in, the $1,000 for the rent. The husband brings in the $1,000 for rent. When it's time to have a child, how are the bills going to be split?
That's a good question. They should both split 50-50. Nonetheless, if they were prepared to have a child or did have a child, they should have thought about that prior. Can we afford a child?
Right. So right now, rent is $2,000 a month. She brings in $1,000. He brings in $1,000. They want to have a child. Now, what do? Do they go into a smaller apartment? What do they do?
If it was me, if I was a male, I would get a part-time job as well, and I would move somewhere smaller if we wanted to have a child, to have a little savings aside if the mom did want to stay home during that time, 8, 9 months or whatever, if she's pregnant, or a little bit afterwards.
So listen to your solution.
That's what I would do.
So your solution is get a part-time job and move into a smaller place. So the family is getting.
If I was a man.
If you were a man. Wait a minute. Who we on the phone with right now? Wait a minute.
Well,
Wait, who we
I'm
with?
a male. I'm just saying, if I was married, if I was in that position, I would do a part-time too as well to make sure our household was sustainable. But I would not want my wife to be out there working crazy hours and on her feet at 8, 9 months pregnant. No.
Right. So the family is getting larger, and the solution is to move into someplace smaller.
For a short period of time.
Until she gives birth to the baby, and then that's when she needs to get her black ass back out there and start bringing in her money so that you all can get what? Go ahead.
Not necessarily. I have a friend that she's a female. She's doing well. She graduated. Her husband is in grad school. So he was there for her while she was finishing up her degree. So she's contributing a little bit extra while he's in school trying to finish up his degree, his hustle. But he held her down as they were engaged at the time while she was trying to finish school. So she contributed a little bit more to the household because he was trying to finish his degree. But I don't think it's anything wrong if, let's say, you meet your then spouse in college or something, and they're trying their best. You guys are both juggling with your household and finances. I don't find the issue if I can contribute more when you held me down prior.
Right.
And what I see
so this is part of the issue. Tell me your name again.
Deshaun?
All right, so Deshaun, see, so part of the issue is you're saying you don't see an issue, right? But
I do see an issue.
Listen. You just said you don't see an issue, so listen for one moment.
With the woman being 8, 9 months working, that's a little crazy.
Right, no, but if you allow me to speak, then you'll hear what it is that I'm communicating with you, okay? You were saying you don't see an issue with her bringing in the 50%, him bringing in the 50%, and when it's time to have a child, that they then move from the 1-bedroom down to what, a studio, or they're getting ready to have a child, and then now they have to move from the 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom down into a 1-bedroom or studio. And so their quality of life has to be compromised because they become pregnant, right? And so this is part of what becomes the issue, that now their quality, because he's not able to sustain the bills on his income, now they have to downgrade their quality of life because their lifestyle is dependent on her income, on her 50%.
Well, that's a little bit different if he's not working or contributing as well. You know what 50%
is, right?
Yes.
Okay, let me just state this for the record so you can take that out of your mind. Don't date any broke ass men. Don't date any motherfuckers who don't have a goddamn job. And don't date people who don't have savings. So let's take that off the fucking table, okay? Because I'm not talking about men who are not working. Those men are ineligible from getting pussy, okay? Don't fuck any men who don't work, period. Because if you get pregnant, you're all shit out of fucking luck. You, him, and the goddamn baby, all right? So let's take that off the table. Don't give any pussy to broke-ass men. What we're talking about is a man who is dependent on 50% of the woman's income, okay? So rent $2,000. He's dependent on her $1,000. He brings in his $1,000. She gets pregnant. Now they have to downsize. And they have to now maybe live in an area that's more dangerous. They have to maybe live in an area that with a smaller apartment. And now at the time where she is incubating a fetus inside of her body is now the time that she's going to be in uncomfortable surroundings. Less than comfortable, because if them two together by themselves were living in a $2,000 a month apartment. Now when she's pregnant and needs even more support physically, now she has to be uncomfortable, less comfortable than she was at their base level. Do you see the issue with that?
Yes, I do. I do. My issue primarily, Miss Tonya, was when I see a lot of women that stay at home, they depend on the man 100% financially, and he dictates what she does with that money. And I don't like my black women to be waiting on a man to tell you if you could spend his money that he makes and brings in the household, and he gets to do whatever. So when he wants to leave or dip, he can, but you're stuck with the children at home.
Right. So then we talked
So
about
that
this.
was
We
my
talked
point
about
of
the
view.
we talked about the solution to that. The solution to that is for the woman to receive a monthly stipend that she's able to hold in her bank account. That's the solution. So if he decides to leave, she has a stipend. She has her own money. She doesn't have to go to him nickel and diming each time. Can I have $1? Can I have $20? Because a husband who cares about his wife doesn't want her to be humiliated. A man who has children with a woman doesn't want it. So what? She leaves and just fuck the kids now? So the kids got no fucking food, and a person who claims to be a good person is okay with his offspring being out there with no goddamn food? Living in roach infested places with rats biting the thick layer off the bottoms of their feet? I mean, what type of man would want his children to be in an unsafe situation because he's not with the mother? So it's like, is this person using the money as a way to control, manipulate, and oppress another person?
I agree with that. I agree. I just don't want, I agree with that. I agree. I just don't want my black women to be stuck out, like you mentioned, the stipend. I just don't want them to be stuck out waiting for him to give them the stipend.
The stipend
Waiting
comes
for
every
a
week.
negotiation.
The
I'm sorry?
stipend comes every week. When he gets his paycheck, she gets a stipend because they're building a house together. They have a home. She needs maxi pads. She may need to buy herself some jeans. She may want to go shopping online. She has to buy food or whatever it is. And he doesn't, he may not want her coming to him every single time she wants to make a purchase. And any man who does want a woman to come to him like that it's like money doesn't make you into a different person. It only reveals who it is that you are. Power reveals who it is that you are at your core. What type of person are you when you're in power? Are you a fair person? Are you an unfair person? Are you a demagogue?
I agree. Like a woman shouldn't date a broke dude with no money, no job that's dependent on his woman. I agree with that. I'm not arguing with that point.
Okay, and then so then how about this, right? If a woman is bringing in her $1,000 and he's bringing in his $1,000 for the rent, why should they live together? Why can't she just live with a roommate and he have his own place, so that way if he decides to leave or do whatever, she still has her place with her roommate? Why should she live with him? What is the benefit of living with a man who is bringing in half of the money and you're bringing in the other half? What's the benefit of living with him? For a woman, think like a woman. What's the benefit of living with a man who you two are splitting bills 50-50 like roommates? What's the benefit?
It's not much benefit. I get what you're saying, but he still has to give you something. Even if you do a weekly stipend, that still comes from his pocket to yours. You have to negotiate an amount for him to give you your money, opposed to you having your own, doing your own life. And if you want to buy whatever you want with your money that you can afford, you could do that.
Right.
I just opposed to women depending on a man, and then he takes off to leave and you're just stuck there with kids with nothing to do with no career.
Right, but you know what? You have children. There are laws in place that men do not leave their children. He will have his income garnished. He cannot work on the books and have children that he's not caring for. They'll garnish his wages. They'll suspend his driver's license. He's not going to be able to produce children out there that he's not caring for. That's one. Okay? And then if you're married and he decides to take off, then there's also alimony, because we already have a homeless problem in this country. And so the state is not going to allow a woman to become homeless because he's taken off. So it's like we've got to talk solutions. What is the solution? Because let me ask you all something out there. This is a question for the ladies, right? So the numbers are going to be 2 and 3, right? The numbers are going to be 2 and 3. In terms of effort that you put place in terms of keeping the house clean, cooking, etc., right? If the quality of your life increased when you got with a man, right? Let's say you're doing 50-50. If the quality of your life increased by living with a man who was not paying all of the bills, put up the number 2. Put up the number 2. If the quality of your life decreased, meaning you have to pick up after him, you got to wash extra dishes, you got to keep talking to the motherfucker. If the quality of your life went down, put up the number 3. Because I've had male roommates before. And men they don't have the average man doesn't have the same level of cleanliness as a woman. I live with male roommates who when they shat in the toilet, this motherfucker would use his penis to try to use the stream of spray to shoot the dried shit from down around the bowl. And I'm like, why don't you just take the toilet brush and brush it off?
Exactly.
I'm like, just take the toilet brush and brush it off. But he was using his dick to spray and hope that the spray of urine would hit the dried up fecal matter hard enough to push the thing down. He wasn't wiping up the table. He wasn't cleaning up in the way that he needed to be cleaning up. I had to be the one cleaning out the shower and all of that. So it's like, whether this person is your man or not, people are saying yuck. They're saying yuck.
I agree. That's nasty. Cleanliness.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out if he's paying 50-50. And now this is a person him and I were not intimate. He had his own, and even just living with him as a roommate, living with a man as a roommate, I still did the bulk of the cooking because he couldn't cook. I did the bulk of the cleaning because if I had to wait for his black ass to do it, I would have had to be living in filth. So I ended up having to do a lot more, even in just a basic roommate situation. And this man, he did not put his penis inside of me. Now imagine living with a person who is, on average, the cleanliness level is less than yours. You're still going to end up having to cook more. That's if he's not the primary chef, right? And then he's also going to be trying to stick his dick inside of you too. I don't really understand. What is the benefit? What is the benefit? And then with him sticking his dick in there, he may make another person. Because every time that a man climaxes, he shoots out seeds of life. And men are always trying to climax. So he's just constantly shooting out seeds of life. So I'm trying to figure out if you're doing 50-50 and then you have to end up still doing the bulk of the housework, the bulk of the cleaning, and have this loaded penis shooting up inside of you, shooting out sperm cells for fermentation, not fermentation, fertilization. What is the benefit of living with a male person who you're splitting 50-50 with, who is trying to dick you down? What's the benefit? I want to know.
None. And if you're in that instance, you need to find someone that you're compatible with, education-wise, financially-wise, and career-wise, opposed to meeting a guy that they don't measure up with what you expect with your career and his. Find someone that you're compatible with.
I'm so sorry, Deshaun. It's like, I don't think that you realize what's out there in terms of men. That even no matter what education the man has, I would say the bulk majority of men are not as clean as women. The majority. So it's like, if you go out there dating and you're already going to have to do more of the housework and cooking, right? And cleaning, then what is the benefit? Because he could stay in his own house and keep his house however he wants to keep it. and then come over to your house. You could get some penis and then send him home if you're going to be spending half of the money on bills. So what is he bringing into the situation besides dick and half the rent?
Nothing. And if he doesn't straighten his act up, I wouldn't do shit. You don't get nothing from me. You don't give nothing. I give you nothing.
It's not give nothing. I'm talking about giving half. Give half. So this is why even in a 50-50 situation, it's still not equal. I have never been in a situation with a male, even as roommates, where it was equal with me being the womb holder. I've never been in a situation inside of a home where it was equal. I've not.
Okay, and I do agree men are messy and dirty. But did you verbalize that with him, or did you
I
just
told them
told
to
him
ever use a toilet brush. This is just not just one person. When I was in college, I was there with men. They wouldn't wash the dishes. They would cook all times of the night.
Shit pile up.
Then the quality of your life goes down as a woman. If he's bringing in half of the money as a roommate situation, like these situations, then I left. But because the quality of the cleanliness deteriorated, it wasn't worth it. They were up all hours of the night laughing and playing video games, always men coming in and out of the place. It wasn't worth it. This was even as a roommate situation. Now I can't even imagine if my door would be creaking open in the middle of the night talking about, Tonya, you awake? No, bitch, no! All right. Okay. All right. Listen. 50-50 is never 50-50 when you're living with a man. Men need to bring more than just dick and bubble gum to the situation. They really do. Even dick and half the rent, he needs to bring in more than that because it's never equal. It's not equal. It's just not equal. So we got to figure out a way to be able to even the playing field. I would say at the very minimum, 75-25 in terms of bill paying. 75-25. That's no matter how much money I make. I don't care how much a Bitcoin is worth right now. I don't care. 70, I would say the very minimum, because like I don't mind paying something. Me personally, I don't mind paying something, the periphery. I don't mind paying, the utilities or something. I don't mind personally. I keep my utilities paid. That's fine. But you're not gonna bring your speckled toilet habits, your dirty clothes, and your subpar cooking skills in here and think that we're going to be doing 50-50. You could go live in your own squalor like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you're fine with men being dirty, but they need to compensate you financially wise if they're going to do all that, if you're contributing more with cleaning and cooking and stuff like that.
I did not say I'm fine with men being dirty. But it's just the fact of the matter is that the vast majority of men out there are less clean than women. I'm not saying that I want him to be dirty because he does not have a maid there. However, even in a situation where you two are just cohabitating, there's going to be more that the woman is going to do. There's going to be more. Oh, Lord, we've been on the phone for a hot minute, so finish saying what you need to say and let you jump off.
Okay, I agree with that, and I will say, you have good points with that. My mom didn't play that. She would tell my dad to get your shit and put it in the hamper. You ain't gonna leave nothing around. She didn't play that crap with nobody.
Right, exactly.
But I want to say, you bring a lot of good points, Ms. Tonya, but I just don't want my black women to be stuck out waiting for a man to give them something when they could already have their own, and to have a partner that's compatible with you financial-wise. If you're this, make sure that they're that. If you want this type of money flowing in, whatever household.
Part of what you don't understand is whether he's paying all of the bills or half of the bills. He's still coming into the situation where you have to exert more of your energy than you would have exerted if he wasn't there. Even with your mother saying, "Get your shit, put your get that stuff, that you're exerting energy that you don't need to exert. So whether he's paying the bills or not, you're still exerting energy. You're still having to deal with another person in your space. And if that person is a male person, the surveys have already said that the happiest women out there are women who are child-free and relationship-free, because it's a man's quality of life that increases when he gets with a woman. His health increases, his projected living time increases. It's the women who have men and who have children who are the most miserable in society. And so the least he can do is bring home that money and pay these bills. Make it a comfortable situation. Make it comfortable. And when it comes to whether or not she has to wait, if this man cares for her, bring home the monthly stipend. Let them have a joint bank account where she can transfer her own weekly stipend into her own account, if he cares about her, because I think that there has to be some fundamental understanding that a man understands the nature of men and wants to protect that woman even from himself. Simple as that.
And that's a good point. But if they're going to do all that, you might as well just be single and just enjoy yourself. But I agree with that.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So somebody's saying that's not true. Feminist talking points, please. You all don't know. You know what? It's like you all see yourselves and you don't understand. You don't understand what it's like living with, and they eat so damn much too. Even the thinnest of men. I can't understand where men are putting all this damn food. Please. My brother was just here. I went to go make pancakes. I bought a pizza stone, right? I bought a pizza stone because during the pandemic, we were making our own pizza. The pizza stone is 14 inches. I made my brother 3 pancakes. He was still hungry. I just went and I just dumped the stuff into the bowl, mixed it up, and I just made a pancake the size of the damn pizza stone. I put the damn pizza stone on the fire and just made a damn big 14-inch pancake for the man. Hello, you're on the air. What's your name? Hi, Morgan. What's your comment so I can introduce you to the people? Oh, Lord. Hold on. We got somebody who was triggered by Deshaun. Tell me your name again so I can introduce you. All right. All right. All right. So we have Morgan on the line right now, and Morgan says she was triggered by Deshaun. I really did. I had to make my brother a 14-inch pancake. And he was like, oh, Tone, this is not going to fit on the plate. I said, oh, it'll fit. And I took the thing. I flipped over that big-ass pancake. But after he ate that pancake, he was satisfied then. And I was like, okay, all right.
Oh, my goodness. That's so funny. So I want to talk about the idea that, Black women, I love the previous, I think she called a couple of people before Deshaun, and she mentioned that her dad gave her mother a stipend or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to debunk the idea that Black women on average don't already come to their marriage or their relationship with a career and with their own nest egg. I'm thinking for myself, my oldest sister, and our mom that we learned that from. Okay. Now, I'm Black, my husband's Black, my sister is Black, her husband's Black. My other sister, she's married to a white dude, and she actually has worked throughout all of her relationships, and I actually have a career. I'll say that I'm in the biotechnology space, and I have my own money. And
my CashApp is $sign Tonya TKO for all you high-powered women out there who want to give. $sign Tonya TKO, TONYATKO. Thank you. Go ahead, Morgan. In the biosphere.
I've been loving your energy for years and how far you've come. I've watched you for a very long time. And so I would like to debunk the fact that we come into any relationship, whether we're planning to go 50 or 50 or not, without any money. after I get pregnant and I have a baby, we don't have kids yet, but I do plan on being a mother. And when that happens, I'm going to be at home with my child because I don't believe that Black children, I live in a majority white area. I live in California. I don't think that Black children should be in white daycare. And my husband, he's from the South, but he also agrees with that. And it is what it is. Now, if we decide to get divorced, I should be talking to a lot. He's going to hear me and come in here and be like, who you're talking to, but whatever. He's going to be like, you know, basically what I'm trying to say is that I come to the plate with something, right?
Okay.
I don't necessarily think that, you know, the husband necessarily needs to make double what the woman makes per se, but I also don't believe that if a man can't be a protector or provider, he doesn't really add any value to the woman's life at all. And so if we decide to be stay-at-home mothers, we should have a man who is able to provide a decent lifestyle for us. Now, given I live in California, it is expensive, but I would move to a cheaper state to be able to take care of my children and not put them in daycare and go to work for that reason. I'm lucky that I don't have to do that. And I'll stop because I'm kind of going on a rant because I've been watching your whole live stream. But, you know, I just really didn't like the fact that he made it seem like, you know, we shouldn't rely on men. We should have our own. We on average have our own. We're the most educated group. We have careers, okay? We have these things. I've only surrounded myself with Black women who have their stuff together my whole life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to say that, you know, we have stuff to come to the table. And the 50-50 thing to me doesn't make any sense. If you're married, you should have merged finances, okay? And your husband should be a provider. Period.
So
you know,
if your finances are merged,
share my finances with you.
Hold on. If your finances are merged, then how do you know he's being a provider?
Well, okay, I meant it. When I think 50-50, I think of like, well, okay, this is what I think when I think 50-50. When I think 50-50, I think that you are essentially like charging your roommate on Venmo for half of the electric bill. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Now, personally, all of our money doesn't go in one account. I do have finances and assets and investments that I made before I got married, and so does my husband. But we have a merged bank account. We're a young married couple. You know, we have a mutual debit card that we use for things, and we have our own stuff too. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, he's a provider because, and my parents' situation was pretty much the same thing. He's a provider because if I decide that, you know, tonight I'm getting pregnant, I can rely on him to take care of us.
Okay, so where does your money go?
My money deposits into our account. We have a mutual account.
So your money deposits into the mutual account. His money deposits where?
Also into the account.
So you guys are both dipping from the same pool.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't agree to anything else though.
Right.
Like, I don't necessarily think that but I don't think that my situation is a 50-50 situation per se.
How do you know it's not? Whose money is paying for what?
I mean, I get what you're saying. I actually haven't thought of it like that. I'll be honest, right? I'm an honest person. I haven't thought of it like that. But when I think 50-50, I think of separate incomes and you're paying 50 and he's paying 50. That's what I think is 50-50. I don't think, when I think of 50-50 couple, I personally don't think of a merged situation that we have. I could be wrong. If you can disagree, that's fine.
No,
but that's
I just don't really see how I don't really see how it's not 50-50 when all of the money is going into the same account. I don't see how you differentiate, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, as a matter of fact, you may be the one supporting him.
I mean, maybe. That's a funny way to put it. I'm going to tell him that. I mean, maybe.
He could be putting his money. He could be putting his money in there, talking about this is mine. Now let me use Morgan's money to pay the mortgage.
I mean, everything is. It's funny because like literally everything we do is like auto pay. So I mean, maybe this is what I get for talking so much trash about 50-50 chicks. Maybe I am a 50-50 chick, but I don't view it that way because typically when I hear 50-50 people talking, right, I'm involved in a lot of like, you know, Facebook groups and I read a bunch of stuff about other Black people, right? It's always this concept that, you know, you both have to bring something to the table. My situation is that I work because I like my job, right? I went to college for it, and my husband also went to college for it. We met in college, and we work, and we're young, and we're still in our 20s.
Can you ask your husband if you could send me a Cash App?
What was that?
Can you ask your husband if you could send me a Cash App?
I don't ask him to spend money. I just spend. That's one thing I don't do. That's one thing I don't do. I don't ask to spend money. It's ours. I spend whatever I want.
Okay.
I'm spending a lot in quarantine.
So that means that, okay, have you gotten my book yet? The book of affirmation, self-love, which is available right now on Amazon. Have you gotten my book, Morgan?
I haven't. No, I haven't gotten your book. I watch your channel like every day, but
do you? So you over here absorbing information from my channel that you love, but you haven't opened up you and your husband's wallet to get my book. I see how you doing it, Morgan. I see how you doing it. And you don't already confirm that you don't have to ask him. And you've already stated you spending a lot of money during this pandemic. I got you. Thank you for letting me know what the deal is. Thank you.
You are so funny.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I honestly just wanted to say that. I mean, you opened up my mind. Maybe I'm a 50-50 chick. Didn't know I was a 50-50 chick. But, you know, I don't consider that to be.
When do you siphon money off to your own personal bank account? When do you do that?
I mean, like I said, I work in biotechnology, meaning that I have invested into my company and the previous companies I work for because they're publicly traded companies, right? So I have investments that I've made over the past couple of years that are in my personal E-Trade account that I haven't touched, right?
E-Trade is not a bank account. You have another bank account, Morgan?
I have multiple bank accounts. Yeah, I think everyone should.
Okay.
So, I mean, I'm not rich. I'm not on here trying to floss. But
don't try to downplay it now. My book is only $19.99. But you say you have your own bank accounts, multiple ones. When do you take your money and put it into your personal bank account? You have your own personal savings, correct?
Yeah. Before I got married. I've only been married 2 years. I got married in 2018.
I'm asking right now.
2013.
In the past 2 years, when do you take money from this joint account and put it into your savings? When do you do that?
So we have joint savings. We have joint checking and we have joint savings.
I'm done.
Personally, that's why I was raised.
I'm done. I can't no more. What the hell are you saying, Morgan?
I can see how you would disagree.
I don't disagree. I'm just confused.
Yeah.
I'm confused. This sounds a lot like 50-50. And it sounds even worse than 50-50 because there's no differentiation. It's just really just a big melting pot and a big melting pot of savings. And you don't know whose money is going where because it's all in one pot.
I mean, I'll say this. I don't really understand how a married couple couldn't have at least one joint account, if that makes sense.
Well, no, a joint account, of course, but a joint account that all of your money goes into and savings
account. It's not all of my, okay, so let me explain this again. Like I said, I have my own investments that I've made on my own, right? I still invest in companies on my own. I do have a personal net worth as well as he has a personal net worth. I also have a prenup. So let's take that into consideration. I also have a prenup, and I'm not going to go into details of that, but I'll just say that I have inherited, my parents' home as well as money from my grandparents that if we get a divorce, he's not going to get, right? I also have alimony situations in my prenup. I mean, that's very personal. I don't need to say that on YouTube for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But what was that?
And I said yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that what I'll say is this. I kind of understand your confusion, but for me, in my sector, as well as my husband's sector, he's in banking and finance. He works for a large bank.
I bet.
Our money, like our paychecks, is not all of our money, right? Like that's not even the gist of my wealth, right? The gist of my wealth is actually my investments that I put on the side by myself and that I've made before I got married and that were already in place for me. That's the majority of my wealth. Okay. What we have together is a condo and our paychecks. And I think that might be different than most people, but he doesn't really even have access to majority of, I mean, if you count the house, majority of my wealth, but what I created before him, no.
Okay. So basically what you're saying is ideal is to have your own investments. But the thing is, I'm confused because you didn't talk about taking money from the joint account into your investments. You said that there are investments that already exist from before you were married. But how often are you able to take money from the joint account and make investments? Because it sounds like the investments are from before you were wed.
Yeah, that's a great question. So like I said, I take money out whenever I want to take money out. If I decided to take money out and put it into Tesla or put it into Bitcoin, like you mentioned earlier, I can do that, right? And that's mine. It can be mine. We're not really a tit for tat couple in that way, where he's monitoring every little dollar that I spend and I'm monitoring every little dollar that he spends. We don't have to do that. We don't do that. So for me, if I was to take out $1,000 and go invest it, he might ask me, like, are we taking $1,000? Like, yeah, but it's mine. It's not going to be a fight.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Thank you so much.
But I get what you're saying. Like and to be honest, like I haven't done that a lot within these past 2 years. But it is something that I have done. It is something that I will do if I see an opportunity. And also, as a couple, we can invest in things together. There's still...
Yeah. So see, the thing that's confusing to me, this is what's confusing to me. The thing that's confusing is that there's one bank account. So the direct deposit goes right into the bank account, both of yours.
Yes.
Both of the direct deposit goes into the bank account. And then you also both have joint savings. So it's not like So I have my own savings account and if you log into my Choose account that I share with him, there's checking and then there's savings. And we allocate funds how they should be allocated. Okay. And so it's not like okay, there's a certain amount of monthly bills. And so you each put into the joint account the amount to cover the bills. You're taking all of your money and he's taking all of his money and putting it into the joint account. That's the part that's confusing to me because that's the thing that's confusing because you're saying that he's providing, but there's really no delineation between who is paying for what. All of your money is just going in there and the bills are getting paid on auto. So this is, I don't know how much your husband makes compared to how much you make, but it doesn't really matter because let's say he's making 70 and you're making 30 and then the bills are coming out of auto pay, right? That's actually if your percentage, like I don't want to know how much you make, but do you know what the percentage is of how much your husband makes? Is it 50% of what he makes, 100%, so it's matched equally? How does it vary?
He makes more than I do. Not a crazy amount than I do. I think later in his career he probably will. But we both maintain an upper middle class lifestyle.
Right.
For reference point.
Right. So you can see how if one person makes
I totally understand where you're coming from.
If one person makes $70 and one person makes
Mhm.
$30 and the bills are $100 or however much they are, there's still a greater portion coming from the person who makes less because their percentage wise is lower than the person who, so everything is being split, you know, everything is coming out, but one person is making less. So it's like,
Mhm.
if me and my sister have a joint bank account and we're paying the bills and my sister makes less money than I do, is that really, is it 50-50? If let's say 100% of her contribution is taken up and only 20% of my contribution, is that 50-50? Is it equal? So anyway,
Mhm.
all right. So thank
No,
you.
I understand where you're coming from. I think for me though, I get turned off, and I think that we're both definitely within the same mindset, but I get turned off by the idea that, like I already said, right, that women don't already come to relationships with their own, because I believe that we do, especially with Black women. On average, we make more than the men do. And that's a bitter pill for a lot of dusty men to swallow, but it's the truth. And I think that as a wife, if you're going to be working, right, like I said, I don't plan to work after I have a child. I plan to stay home for a few years. But if you're working, I think that you should have access to your husband's fund, however you want to manage that, right? If I decided to keep all my money for myself and live off what he has, we could do that because we don't necessarily live over our means. But for us right now, it works. And I just don't consider that to be a 50-50 situation, but I definitely understand, you know, where you're coming from, and, you know, because we have the same pot and we're both pulling from the same pot, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, you don't know. You don't know. Because your money is inside. All of your money that you earn from income is in the pot. So you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't really know the reason of why you would need to know per se. I don't think that necessarily negates what a provider is and what a provider isn't. I think that if you have a man who is educated and who makes an above average salary and is on the same page with you as being able to take care of you down the line and is financially stable, then you're fine. I guess I'm a little bit, and I'm just asking this like respectfully to you, Tonya, I don't really get the point of knowing who's paying more for what. That's kind of what I'm trying to figure out.
No. That's not what I'm saying. It's what you're saying. You said that you look down at 50-50 chicks in these Facebook groups, but you don't know whether or not you're a 50-50 chick. So it's not me, it's you. I'm saying you don't know.
I mean, I'm pretty confident that I don't split the bills. I don't have separate, you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty confident of that. So I don't necessarily think, I understand what you're saying, but I think it's different. I think my situation is different than what the average person is saying, because I briefly dated somebody who brought up the whole 50-50 thing. I've heard 50-50 arguments from men and women, and to me, it always comes out as, you know, I don't want her having what I have, and I don't want him having what we have. You've got yours, I've got mine, and let's do everything separately. And for me, that's not my situation. We work together, and one day he will fully provide for us, and I don't think a 50-50 man would be able or willing to do that at all. Would you disagree with that?
I think that you're in a situation where you have imagined that your husband is a provider, but you all are splitting the bills with both of your incomes, and there's no delineation between how much of a provider he is or isn't. I think that's what, because you're saying he's a provider, but according to what? What is he providing? You both are paying the bills on auto pay from all of your income in one pot. And listen, I don't have a problem with people who want to be stay-at-home wives. I don't have an issue with people who choose to be 50-50. I think it's sad, you know, but then being in denial and not really understanding or not even seeing, that's the part that's confusing to me, that you don't see that you all put all of your money into one pot. And that's fine. If that's what works for you all and you're happy with that, that's cool. However, the denial and calling your husband a provider when he's not, when you both are providing for your lifestyle, he's not providing. You all are piling your monies together and then paying on auto pay, which is cool. I don't have an issue with that. However, if you have an issue with 50-50 chicks, then you may want to look at your situation. That's what I'm saying. And I
get what you're saying. So I will say this though. I would say that us being 27 and 29 and not having children, right? And living in a metropolitan area, for me, I wouldn't necessarily say that he is a provider right now. I completely agree with you because we both work, right? Because we both work, and I don't really see a reason for us. I actually think I benefit more for having access to this money because I have more access to cash when I need it. But I think the only issue that I have with that mindset is that if and when I decide to have children, I have that ability, right? And when I think of a stereotypical couple that goes into everything, like you said earlier, where that man relies on your half, he doesn't rely on my half.
Okay.
He's able to take care of me, right? And so that's what I'm saying. He doesn't, as me being 27, there's COVID, so we don't travel, but we have a good life. We've been friends for a long time, then we started dating, and then we got married, and it is what it is. It wouldn't make sense for me to not have children, and for me to just not, and my job isn't even that hard, really, for me, not to work. I'm putting more money towards my children's Black generational wealth. So it doesn't really make sense for me not to work at all, and for him to just, and for him to just take care of me as a non-working girl in terms of COVID. If I wanted to do that, that's fine, but I get paid a good amount to not really work that hard, right? If I was a nurse out here battling the virus, or if I was doing manual labor, like you mentioned, the 9-month woman, you know what I mean, being pregnant at 9 months and, that man praising her, that's a completely different situation. But the point I'm trying to make is that I am with someone, and my dad is someone, and my brothers are someone who, if and when their wives decide to stop working, they are willing, ready, and able to take care of them. Does that make sense?
I hear exactly what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. However, you've been paying into this pot for 2 years. So if you decide to stop working, you've paid into this pot for 2 years. So your money is still there. So yes, I remember when I was, I'd say maybe I was about 9 years old, somewhere between 7 and 10, right? I went on this school trip, and my family made my little cousin come with us. But her mother did not give her money to go on the trip, and I went and I emptied out my piggy bank, and we went on the trip, and we went to the zoo. So I wanted to buy ice cream and all this stuff, and my cousin was treating me all throughout the day. She was treating me to ice cream, to cotton candy, to all this stuff. She was so generous, right? When we got back on the school bus to go home, I realized that all the change in my pocket was gone, right? And I was like, wait a minute, all that treating that you did was with my damn money? Right?
Yeah.
Right? And and the gift that she was giving me didn't really seem as furtive, because when all was said and done, when I reached in my pockets, all of the money from my piggy bank, so it was like me spending my own money on myself, right?
Yeah.
So in your situation, where you've paid into this pot for 2 years. You probably won't have children for another 2 years. So you've been paying into this joint pot for 4 years. And then when you decide to stop working, you're going to be like, oh, now he's a provider with the money that you've paid into this pot. So that's all I'm saying. And so thank you, Morgan, for calling in. I really appreciate you spreading. No, listen, we've been on the phone for 27 minutes. I can't keep having half-hour phone calls. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care.
All right. So, listen, I didn't expect for these phone calls to be as long as they have been. Let's see. You're on the air. What's your name?
Hi, this is Becky. Tonya, how are you?
Hi, you need to turn down your computer in the background. There's a tremendous echo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I turned it down now.
Okay,
how are you?
Yeah, so Becky, continue. Listen, you all have to keep me, if we go over time, I need you all to keep me on point because these conversations are so riveting. So go ahead, Becky.
Yes.
What is your thought?
Okay, so I got married pretty young, 25, 26 or whatever. Didn't really know what I was doing. Got married to a Jamaican with this whole idea in my head that, I was going to finish nursing school, and as soon as I settle down and have my baby, that this man, or what I thought was going to be my supportive husband, was going to allow me to have a child and stay home with the child. Lo and behold, when I said this, or when it actually happened, I was called lazy. I had to go back to work after like 3 months of being home, the standard maternity leave, and I was a leasing consultant on top of that. So
oh, Lord. That
is the most stressful job ever, to be breastfeeding. And we actually lived where I worked, but it was just so much pressure. I would be at work from 9, get home at 7 p.m. and still had to cook. I'm talking about rice and peas, chicken, fried plantain, these types of things, right? The man would have a fit if he had to go to work and have cold cereal. This is you want me to make porridge and labouille, all sorts of stuff, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what I am trying, 5 years later, I'm divorced.
I know that's right. I mean, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
What I want to say is I keep hearing from my young friends or friends that are my age that want to get married, and they're like, oh, well, what are you bringing to the table? Or you got to have this, or you got to have that. And then I go to work, where I work with a lot of, I work in the government, but there's some Jewish people, and I never hear them have these sorts of conversations, right? Those aren't the sort of conversations that they are having. And I also have, and I hate to make it a race issue, I really do, but I have 2 really, really good girlfriends that are, one of them is married to a white Cuban, and I remember that when she was engaged, the guy told her to stop working.
I know that's right.
And I remember that, we were still in college. We were working at the document bank, and I remember when this man told her, you need to stop working, okay? And I was like, you're going to stop working? And she was trying to figure out ways to get fired, because she was like, I don't want to depend on this man. So she's trying to figure out a way to get fired so that she could collect that unemployment, right? Mm-hmm. And to this day, the girl has no kids. She's always looking for a hobby. She's bored. She's bored all the time. She's bored. They're traveling the world, and she's bored. She ain't got no kids. She got her 2 dogs and a wine sipping club type stuff, okay? She's on forums and stuff. She's bored. But the man is joyfully taking care of her, and it's never a discussion. It's never a discussion of, oh, you're looking for a come up as a woman. Oh, you're lazy. Oh, you don't have any aspirations. This girl is smart. She graduated with a she was bio major, and she has a plethora of different certifications. Whenever I have a problem, this is the person that I call. But these 2 black women that are really, really smart with supportive white husbands, and I hate to say this, guys, I really, really do. I hate to make it a race issue, but never has it ever occurred to either of these men, from what I know, any talk about anything financial. It was just, it's their pride and their joy to take care of their wife. And so to me, and it's always, I'm sorry, but it's my Black friends too that are like, but if he can't pay for this, that's a problem. If he can't pay for that, that's a problem for you. And I'm like, yeah, it's a problem for me now. Because you know what? Yes, I know that I can do it. I know that I can do all these things because shit, I'm doing it now. When I was broke, busted, and disgusted and had to go back living back home because this nigga didn't want to take care of me, didn't want to do what was right for me and his kid, and I had to go back home and start from the ground up. Yes, I can do the shit by myself. Yes, quote, strong, but bitch, I don't want to be strong no more. I don't want to do it. Please, I want to be resting, feet up, taking care of my kid, and being home, and that, all of that is stressful. I don't think that people realize how stressful that is. Go ask a strong Black woman with all that stress on her to see how happy she is. Ask her what she brought to the table. Really, like, we have to get out of this idea, especially Black men. I want to know, like, why do we even have to have these conversations where I feel like their white counterparts don't have to. They just don't. It's just a given. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like we've fallen short, and it used to be like, because I'm Haitian, and I used to always think, that's, and don't kill me for this, anybody, but I'm just saying the truth. I used to always be like, oh, this is a Black American thing. They don't want to take care. But I swear, Tonya, I feel like it's starting to spread. Because a lot of the Caribbean men, I feel like, don't want to do shit either. Like, they're just like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just, at this point, I tried to do the whole dating thing, and I'm tired of, like, trying to compete with niggas. It's like I'm in a competition with niggas, too, not just women, but I'm, like, competing, like, who's going to take care of who? No, I can't. I cannot. I'll just take care of myself and my kid, and just, that's just it,
So you've had men come to you and say,
I'm attracted.
Hold on. So you've had men come to you and say they want you to take care of them?
Not that, I just feel like it. I just get a vibe, I guess. I just get like
What type of vibe, if they don't say it outright?
Like, I just haven't met someone that's just like, where I feel protected and comfortable, and I just know that, okay, no matter what happens, like, I know this person is going to foot the bill, so to speak, or take care of me, and I don't have to worry about anything. I feel like with these other dudes, it's like a favor, almost. Like, if I'm gonna do this for you, you're gonna do this for me, and I'm not doing that. I'm tired of it.
Wait, if I do this for you, you're gonna do what for me? What they talking about?
Like, it's not even anything specific. I just feel like I haven't met anyone that's. I guess now with me, I'm just comparing everything to what I came out of. And any sort of complaint, any sort of like, I need this, or I'm trying to figure out a way. Anybody that's trying to figure out something, like, I don't want to be in that relationship. Anything where it sounds like you're trying to build, I'm not big pun brick. I'm not going to help you build anything. Like, it has to be correct or I'm out. Like, I don't want to be a plant where we're going to grow together. No, if you're not the beanstalk, peace out, I'm out. If I hear anything, if there's any inclination that you're still trying to make it, I'm out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Am I, like, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's really hard in this dating world. I'm like 33, and I've just given up on it, I guess. It's just too much. It's
So
too much. But
my confusion is, why are some women able to meet so many men, you know, to provide, and some women aren't? Well, what's going on out there? Why the disparity?
where do we go? Can I know where do we go? What app is it? Is it eHarmony? Is it Match? I don't know where to go to find these men. I mean, my girlfriends, the two that I know, we were in Florida. Both of them met their husbands straight out of college. So I don't know. I don't know. I met my husband in Jamaica. Bad idea. Bad idea, everybody. Bad idea. But I don't know where we go. Do we go to church? I mean, do we go to the bookstore? I don't know. I don't know where to go. I don't know, especially at this point.
Got you. All right. Well, you know
I'll come to Nigeria with you next time.
There's a lot of fine men in Nigeria, but there's a lot of fine Nigerian men in the U.S.
Yes, there are. There are plenty. But I've given up.
Don't give up, Becky. Don't give up, Bex.
Thank you. It's so lovely to speak to you. Finally, I'm really happy I got to get on. But never settle, ladies. Never settle.
Yeah, it's difficult out there, I suppose. However, you know, the crazy part about it is that men who, like, when I was doing the interviewing for the matchmaking service, I had so many men who just worked so much and they didn't know how to meet women. And then I speak to women like you don't know where to meet men. As soon as this pandemic is over, I'm getting the whole matchmaking thing started back up again. Because people need to come together and find love with one another.
I agree. And I love, but...
Yeah, because you should be able to... Yeah, you should be able to feel loved and protected. And I haven't found that other cultures. Now, I don't know about Jamaica. I've never dated a Jamaican man before. When I was in high school, I had a crush on a Jamaican dude, but he was very sickly. And so, was he Jamaican or Antiguan? I don't remember. It was many years ago. It was many, many years ago. But I don't know what would be happening in Jamaica. You know, Jamaicans had it rough over there, you know, and yeah, I don't know. Listen, Jamaica's a rough place. But you know, listen, Jamaica's a rough place. Jamaica's a rough place, depending on which part of Jamaica you're in. But Jamaica was the place where the toughened Africans went to get broken. You know, and so I don't know. And I also think that there is a dynamic where the person that you're marrying is from a different country. That's why when I was setting up my matchmaking business, I decided to have only Nigerian American men or Nigerian men who, or just West African men who had been in the United States for some time, because there needs to be, I think that the marrying of the two cultures is a great combination, you know? Yeah.
I'm Haitian, and I automatically click with a lot of Nigerian people. Just, I don't know, I feel like our cultures are definitely, I don't know, like reflections of one another.
Yes, of course. Because, you know, Haiti was the first colonized place to gain their independence from the white man.
Yes.
So hopefully you all were able to maintain a lot of your customs, cultures, and foods and stuff, you know? I'm sorry.
Yes, I have. Thankfully, thanks to my parents, I've been able to keep a lot of, I mean, my Creole and my French is not that great, but the food I've definitely been able to cross over, so that's good. But thank you so much, Tasha, Tonya, for your time. Ooh, Tonya, thank you for your time.
Did I just get called the wrong name? Wow, this is how we're doing it now?
No. I have my good cousin, her name is Tasha, and so I'm sorry. I was just thinking about her as I was speaking to you.
Try to clean it up. Yeah. Tell Tasha we said hello. Maybe you should be calling Tasha right now. My goodness. Anyway.
Nice talking to you.
All right, Rebecca.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, the phone lines are off. We've been on for 2 hours, so Becky Beckworth was the last caller on YouTube. I don't feel like going anymore. Are there other people who wanted to call in? Because if you do, we're going to be switching over to another platform. So let's see. Is there anybody else who had something that they wanted to say on this topic? Somebody saying better than a man. No, ain't nothing better than nothing. Nobody should be calling me nobody else's name. I don't care where you do it at. I don't care. I don't care. Man, woman, maybe if you're a child, I can forgive you. But don't be calling me somebody else's name. You only got but so many. Even for a child. So is there anybody else who has something that they wanted to add or share to the conversation? Because we got them all over the spectrum on this one. With men earning twice or 50-50. Oh, Lord have mercy. All right. So listen, I appreciate all of you who came out this evening. All right. So you all will be contacting me soon. All right. Well, you know what? If there's nobody else who has anything else that they want to say, then it looks like there were some phone calls coming in while I was on the phone with Becky. Let's see. Anybody else who got anything else that they want to say? Okay. Maybe we'll pick it up again tomorrow. I'm just happy that we were able to come out. It is rather late right now. There are 300 people on live. Go ahead and give those thumbs up. And we will, all right. You know what we'll do? What we'll do is we will switch over to Facebook real quick for just a brief show over there, right? So that's what we'll do. We'll go over to Facebook because I see that there's some calls that are trying to come in right now. So we're going to go over to Facebook. So the Facebook page is going to be Tonya TKO show. And somebody saying, I don't got Facebook. Everybody has Facebook because this is it's a fan page. So it's open for the public to view. So all you have to do is just open up a browser. If you're on your phone, just open up a browser and go to facebook.com/Tonya TKO show. And go to www.facebook.com/Tonya TKO show. That is TonyaTKO We're going to go live on that page, and we're just going to go for a few moments over there, right? Continue the calling in. You know, I always say it's a few moments, but I really don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe we'll do an hour over there. And then after that, we'll be done. We're going to do an hour on Facebook. All right. So I will see you all on Facebook. You don't have to have a Facebook account. You can open it up inside a browser on your phone, and all you have to do is watch. And you can also call in. But I think if you want to comment and type, you have to have a Facebook account. I think that's the way they do it over there. But you can watch without having an account over on Facebook. You know what would be good right now? Some shredded coconut candies. Lord of mercy. All right. So I will see you all on Facebook. We're about to go over there now. We're continuing the conversation with 50-50 men and income. Is a 50-50 marriage? Is a man a provider if it's a 50-50 marriage? That's going to be the topic on Facebook. All right. So I will see you all on the Facebook page. If you don't know how to get to the Facebook page, I believe the links are inside of the description of this video. Also on my website, TonyaTKO.com, you can click one of the links at the bottom to get over to Facebook. If you open up any mail I've ever sent you from my mailing list, it'll send you over to Facebook. Down at the bottom, you just click on the F. All right, so I will see you all on Facebook right now. I'm on my way over there right now. Give me 2 minutes.